Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. Today we'll be discussing the history of the infamous wizarding shop known as Borgin and Burkes. Established in 1863 by two wizards, a Mr. Borgin, first name unknown, and a Mr. Caractacus Burke, Borgin and Burkes has always had a rather notorious reputation. The shop is located at 13B Knockturn Alley, a street said to be quite dangerous, which can be found just off London's main wizarding road of Diagon Alley. The dangers present along Knockturn Alley come from both the nefarious businesses that operate down the street, in addition to the questionable witches and wizards who frequent these establishments. In fact, the street has such a bad reputation that Molly Weasley forbade her children, specifically Fred and George, from venturing down the alley at all. As for Borgin and Burkes itself, the shop has often been described, rather benignly, as an antique shop. However, what's inside is much more dangerous and potentially deadly than any antique shop us muggles would be familiar with. I would even wager that this was the exact feeling that Harry Potter had the first time he, accidentally, visited Borgin and Burkes by way of flue powder, as described in the following passage from the Chamber of Secrets. All he could tell was that he was standing in the stone fireplace of what looked like a large, dimly lit wizard shop, but nothing in here was ever likely to be on a Hogwarts school list. A glass case nearby held a withered hand on a cushion, a blood-stained pack of cards, and a staring glass eye. Evil-looking masks stared down from the walls, an assortment of human bones lay upon the counter, and rusty, spiked instruments hung from the ceiling. Even worse, the dark, narrow street Harry could see through the dusty shop window was definitely not Diagon Alley. In addition to some of these sinister items that Harry noticed in the shop, Borgin and Burkes is rumoured to have carried a variety of other dark and deadly things over the years, including the Hand of Glory, the cursed opal necklace that nearly killed Katie Bell in 1996, and one of the matching vanishing cabinets, whose mate could once be found in Hogwarts' Room of Requirement. While it's logical to speculate that some of the shop's magical wares could be rather affordable, such as the blood-stained pack of cards that Harry saw, the vast majority of the items sold in Borgin and Burkes are known to be rather expensive. For example, the opal necklace was said to be worth 1,500 galleons, likely due to both its incredible beauty and deadly curse. This is showcased in Harry's description of Draco Malfoy admiring the necklace during that first fateful visit Harry had to the shop in 1992. He paused to examine a long coil of hangman's rope and to read, smirking, the card propped on a magnificent necklace of opals. Caution, do not touch. Cursed. Has claimed the lives of 19 Muggle owners to date. But whether or not the prices of the dark artifacts and antiques found within Borgin and Burkes are justified or not, it's widely known that both owners of the shop have always been incredibly greedy people. As the founders and proprietors of the store since its opening in the mid-19th century, both wizards have proven to be rather selfish and money-grubbing individuals indeed, with their morals mirroring their overall appearances as greasy salesmen. We see this depiction of Mr. Borgin described outright during his interaction with Lucius and Draco Malfoy. "Mr. Malfoy, what a pleasure to see you again," said Mr. Borgin, in a voice as oily as his hair. This, of course, is not confined to their behaviour in the early 90s, as both Mr. Borgin and Mr. Burke have had plenty of history being slimy proprietors. The first notable event supporting this took place in the mid-1920s, when an incredibly pregnant Merope Gaunt came to the store to sell one of her family heirlooms. Her husband, a muggle who had left Merope after she had lifted her enchantment on him, was unwilling to support her, and so, alone and destitute, Merope visited Borgin and Burkes with a locket that had been in her family for years. As it turned out, this was no ordinary heirloom, and it was actually the golden locket that had once belonged to Salazar Slytherin, one of the four founders of Hogwarts. Recognizing that Merope had little understanding of the locket's value, Mr. Burke bought it from her for only 10 galleons, despite it being rather priceless, as he explains in a pensive memory that Albus Dumbledore had acquired. "Yes, we acquired it in curious circumstances. It was brought in by a young witch just before Christmas, many years ago now. She said she needed the gold badly. Well, that much was obvious. Covered in rags and pretty far along. Going to have a baby, see? She said the locket had been Slytherin's. Well, we hear that sort of story all the time. Oh, this was Merlin's, this was his favourite teapot. But when I looked at it, it had his mark all right, and a few simple spells were enough to tell me the truth. Of course, that made it near enough priceless. She didn't seem to have any idea how much it was worth. happy to get 10 galleons for it. Best bargain we ever made. Mr. Burke later sold the locket to the witch Hephzibah Smith for a small fortune. Then in 1945, almost 2 decades later, Burke unknowingly hired Merrily Gaunt's son, Tom Riddle. Tom had recently graduated from Hogwarts and began working at the shop immediately after the school year ended. Of course, Tom was not just any employee. He was the inherently evil young man who went on to become one of the darkest wizards of all time, Lord Voldemort. So Voldemort went off to Borgin and Burkes, and all the staff who had admired him said what a waste it was, a brilliant young wizard like that, working in a shop. However, Voldemort was no mere assistant. Polite and handsome and clever, he was soon given particular jobs of the type that only exist in a place like Borgin and Burkes, which specializes, as you know, Harry, in objects with unusual and powerful properties. Voldemort was sent to persuade people to part with their treasures for sale by the partners, and he was, by all accounts, unusually gifted at doing this. After working for Borgin and Burkes for over a decade, Tom was sent to visit Hephzibah Smith, the same witch who had purchased his mother's locket all those years ago. The visit resulted in Tom stealing the locket and killing Miss Smith, a murder which ended up being just one of many that Voldemort would commit in the pursuit of magical items he deemed worthy of becoming his Horcruxes. This act resulted in Tom disappearing from magical society and effectively ended his employment at Borgin and Burkes. Throughout the decades, Borgin and Burkes has been used as a place to unload illegal magical items that could be confiscated by the British Ministry of Magic, should they find them. In fact, it is for this very reason that Lucius Malfoy was visiting the shop in 1992, when Harry accidentally found himself there. Over the years, Draco Malfoy also became a loyal patron of the shop, coming to Borgin and Burkes alongside his father on many occasions, before eventually seeking services for his own purposes. In 1996, for example, Draco came to Mr. Borgin for help in repairing one of the twin vanishing cabinets. It was also during the same year that Draco purchased the Hand of Glory, as well as the cursed opal necklace from the shop. One final noteworthy historical event that Borgin and Burkes was involved in took place in 1997, when a group of Death Eaters invaded Hogwarts Castle, led by Draco Malfoy. The handful of dark witches and wizards who were able to get onto school property undetected did so by entering the one vanishing cabinet located in Borgin and Burkes and exiting the one that was in Hogwarts. This event led to the infamous death of one of the wizarding world's most celebrated modern-day wizards, Albus Dumbledore. And with that, we've come to the end of today's video. What did you think? Did I miss anything? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, remember, it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live.